Okay, let's talk about one of the weirdest, most unsettling stories you'll ever read, Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis. But we're going to dig into a side of it that, honestly, is even more disturbing than the whole man turning into a bug thing. I mean, it's one of the most famous opening lines for a reason, right? He just wakes up as a giant bug. But the craziest part? There's no screaming, no why me. It's just a fact, like he's reading the morning paper. And that bizarre, matter-of-fact tone, that's the key to this whole nightmare. And that's where we get to the real heart of what we're talking about today. Yeah, Gregor's transformation is front and center. But what if the real metamorphosis, the truly horrifying one, isn't his at all?
To really get this, we have to lean into just how bizarre this whole setup is.
So this gets to the whole Kafka-esque thing you always hear about. The horror isn't just, giant bug. It's how normal everyone tries to act about it. It's this weird procedural calm in the face of the impossible. That blend of the surreal and the super boring, that's pure Kafka.
I mean, seriously, think about it. The guy is a monstrous creature. And his first thought isn't about his new body, but about how he's going to get to work. He's worried about his boss. He's trying to solve this insane, supernatural problem with the mindset of a stressed-out employee. That gap right there, that's the absurdity Kafka's famous for.
Okay, so as you can imagine, this situation doesn't last. Let's look at how quickly Gregor's very identity starts to crumble.
You can literally watch his identity get stripped away piece by piece. At the start, he's the provider. He's the guy holding the family together, the sole breadwinner. But the second he changes, bam, he's a problem, a secret to be hidden away. Then, as the days drag on, he becomes a burden. Something to be managed, a chore. And the final step? He's not even a he anymore. He's just it, a piece of trash to be thrown out.
But here's the twist, and this is the core of our whole argument. As Gregor is falling apart, something incredible and kind of terrifying happens to his family. They start to rise. His tragedy somehow becomes their salvation. Let's start with his dad. Before, this guy was washed up, just lazing around. But as soon as Gregor becomes a burden, it's like a switch flips. The father stands up straight, gets a job as a bank messenger, and starts wearing this crisp, imposing uniform. He reclaims his authority in the house, an authority built right on top of Gregor's helplessness.
And great, his sister? Oh man, her change is maybe the most heartbreaking of all. She starts out as the only one who cares, the one bringing him food, trying to connect. But slowly, that compassion just wears away. It gets replaced by this cold, hard pragmatism. She goes from being his loving sister to being the one who looks at the family and says, that thing has to go. She becomes his judge. So you see this perfect, cruel symmetry, right? Gregor's entire world shrinks down to the dust and grime under his bed in one single room. At the very same time, his family's world is cracking wide open. They're finding jobs, feeling empowered, and imagining a future for themselves, a future that only exists because his has been completely erased. And Kafka drives this isolation home with some really powerful symbols. Let's break down a couple of the big ones. First, you've got the door. That simple wooden door to his room becomes this massive symbol. It's the hard line between his world and their world, between human and whatever he is. He's constantly listening at it, trying to catch scraps of the life he's lost, while they're on the other side, literally deciding his fate. It's the wall between them. And then, the apple. Ugh, in a fit of rage, his own father throws apples at him and one gets lodged in his back. And they just leave it there. It festers and rots, becoming this physical symbol of his father's hatred and the family's neglect. It's this awful final act of paternal violence that literally poisons him to death. Okay, so let's put it all together. You have Gregor's horrific fall and the family's shocking rise. And that brings us to the story's true, ice-cold conclusion. It all comes to a head with this one line from Greta, his sister. We have to try to get rid of its. Listen to that word, it. Not him, not Gregor. The dehumanization is finally complete. He's not family anymore. He's an object, a problem that needs to be solved. And so, later that night, Gregor dies.
And what's really gut-wrenching is that his last thoughts are of his family, filled with tenderness and love. Their reaction to finding his body? Pure, unadulterated relief. The father literally thanks God. His death isn't a tragedy for them. It's a weight off their shoulders. It's the solution they'd been waiting for.
And this is their final metamorphosis. The cleaning lady just sweeps his body away like he's nothing more than dust. And what does the family do? They take a day trip. They go out into the sunny countryside talking about their bright new future. The final image is Great stretching her young body, full of life and potential. Their new beginning is literally built on the ashes of his end.
So, in the end, Kafka leaves us with this really uncomfortable, really modern question that sticks with you. The story is so much more than a guy turning into a bug. It's about how conditional love can be, how quickly we can be discarded when we stop being useful. And it forces you to ask yourself, if our worth is tied to what we can do for others, what happens to us when, for whatever reason, we just can't anymore?